So hello guys, this is Romi, and in this tutorial we are going to continue our Photon Networking PlayMaker tutorial series. And in this episode we are going to create the shooting mechanism. So before we start on the Unity, I'm going to show you the basic concept of how to create a shooting event in a multiplayer game or networking game. So basically, we are going to use a procedure that called a RPC. It stands for Remote Procedure Call. So this this method, it can send a one-time event through all of the clients. So we are going to create a empty game object that's going to manage shooting, and we are going to detect we are going to send the RPC from each of the players. So for example, we have 3 players, right? So let's say it's player A, player B, and player C, and each of these player will have a shooting capabilities or shooting abilities. When the player A press the shoot button, the bullet will get shoot, but actually it's not the player FSMs that will be shooting the bullets, but the shoot manager will be shooting the bullets with the information that the shoot manager received from player A. So when we press fire, the player A will shoot, but basically it's the shoot manager that is creating that is instantiating the bullet and give it a velocity and starting point. But we after we sending the event to the shoot manager from the player, we will also send the transformation. So we will also send the position and the direction, the rotation of the player, so we know the starting position and the direction of the bullet. uh, so if the player B will start shooting also, and the shoot manager will create the bullet and throw in the direction of the player B also with the player C. But we need to there's one caveat though. We need to convert the vector values to a string, because the RPC event or the RPC actions in PlayMaker can only send a string data. So we will convert the vector position and the vector direction to a string, and we are going to join that string together, and then we are going to send it to the RPC. And when the RPC gets that data, that string data, we will going to break apart the data again and convert each of the string to a vector position and also the direction. You may ask why we have to go such a hassle to create a shooting manager, because in networking the usual method that to create a shooting mechanism doesn't work like that, because we have to we have to create each of the bullet on each client. So with RPC, this shoot manager will get trigger on each of the client. So if player A trigger the RPC, this shoot manager will also get triggered on the player B side and also the player C side. So basically each of the client will start shooting a bullet, but the different, or I mean how do the other clients know that it's the player A that are shooting or the player B? We are sending that position and direction. So each this RPC gets triggered, it will instantiate the bullet position relative to the sender. So if the sender is player A, then the vector position and direction will be relative to the player A during at the time the player press the fire button. Same goes with the other player. If the player B is shooting, then it will receive the vector position and the direction from the player B. Same with player C, so on. So that is a basic concept. So okay, let's go back to Unity. Okay, so this is our last scene that we have created. Okay, now I have prepared a prefabs, a bullet prefab. So I've created a basic capsule here, as you can see, and basically this is an empty game object, but with rigid body and PlayMaker Photon game object proxy and the Photon view. But I don't think we need this component anymore, so I'm going to delete this and I'm going to apply. So we need only the rigid body and the capsule collider, because with RPC this bullet gets instantiated locally, but at the same time on all clients. It's a bit different with network instantiate. We are going to use the usual create object. And in this bullet we have a capsule object as the child, and I have rotate the capsule so it's facing towards the z-axis of the parent. And then I have create a shader, a black metallic shader, and I have create a particle. So you can do this if you want to, or you can use just only a simple sphere object if you want to. Okay, I'm going to click apply and I'm going to delete this prefabs. And then what we are going to do next is we are going to select our player prefabs and we are going to create a FSM, and this is for shooting. Okay, so now we are going to check is mine and create two different events, yes and no, just like the one in movement, and then add the transition yes and no. Create a new I don't think we need the no transition, so I'm going to just to delete the no and connect the yes to the first state. And this one I'm going to rename this get shoot button. Add a photon view get is mine, and if it's true then send the yes event. And we are going to create a shoot transition, and here we are going to add a get button down, send event to shoot, and create a new state here. Okay, maybe we can give it a name of RPC shoot here and add a finish and go back to get shoot button. Okay, here first we need to get the position of our child object. So I'm going to drag our player here and I'm going to edit the instance of the shooting FSM. So edit instance here, and we are going to create a game object variable called fire point, and for we are going to set the value of this fire point to this. We are going to create a new empty here, and I'm going to place this empty object in front of the gun barrel. Maybe enable the icon so I can see it. Okay, maybe around this point, and let's rename this to fire point. Under the player, I'm going to drag the fire point to this value here, to this variable, and here we are going to get the position of that fire point, and we are going to store this variable to a new variable. So I'm going to rename this fire position, and then I'm going to get also the rotation of this fire point here. So set the game object to specify to the fire point, and we are going to create a new variable for the Euler angles and rename this to fire direction. So this is for the direction and this is for the position. And then we are going to convert the vector tree to string. In order to do this, you will have to install the you will have to install the ecosystem, and you will have to browse it and search for convert string. And after the result has been shown, search for convert vector tree to string, and also the other way around, convert string to vector tree. So make sure you do that in order to use the next action that I will show you. So convert vector tree to string this time, because we have a vector tree data from get position and get rotation. And first I'm going to convert the fire position, and I'm going to save it or store it to a new fire pos string variable, and this is a data string. And I'm going to copy this action, and for the second one I'm going to change the fire direction, the vector, and we are going to create a new variable. So fire dir string. We have two string now, and now we need to build the string together. So we are going to use a build string, and we are going to save this to a one string. So I'm going to set the string part to 2, and the first one is going to be the fire pos, and the second one is going to be the fire direction string. And then we are going to add a separator. It can be anything. It can be an exclamation mark if you want to. So I'm going to just use exclamation mark, and I'm going to uncheck the add to end, and we are going to store the result to a new variable called RPC parameter. So we have the parameter or the information that we have need converted to a string, and now we are going to use a Photon View RPC broadcast FSM event. So now we are going to target all, and also set event target to broadcast all, but we need to set the remote event first. So I'll change the string data from this value, and we are going to send this through the RPC event. And now I'm going to save the scene and maybe apply the player, and I'm going to create the shoot manager. So for the shoot manager, I'm going to rename the shoot manager and set the value to 0, and I'm going to add an FSM. Rename this FSM to shoot manager, and under the state we are going to create a new state, shoot, add a new event. Maybe we can name this event a RPC shoot, and set this as a global event. And I'm going to add a global transition to this RPC shoot here. Okay. So now we are going to retrieve our string data from the player. We are going to use the get event info, and to retrieve the string data, simply just get the string data here and store it to a new variable. So I'm going to rename this receive params, just like that, because the RPC actions are saving the data to the event data, so we can receive it or we can get it with the event get event info. And we are going to split the string using string split, and the receive params and the separator, it was an exclamation mark, and I'm going to store the array to a new variable, call it uh, params array. Okay, now and then I'm going to get I'm going to split the array. So I'm going to get each of the value from params array, and I'm going to get the first index, which is index 0, and I'm going to store it to a new string. So this is the fire pos string, and this is a new variable, and I'm going to copy this actions. And for the second one, I'm going to get the second index, which is 1, and I'm going to store this to a new variable, fire dir string. And now we have to convert this back. So use convert string to vector3 and get the first one and store it to a new variable, call fire position again, and copy this action. Oh, sorry, the first one should be fire pos, and the second one, yeah, it's fire direction, correct, and create a new variable called fire direction. Okay, now we have retrieved the event data, and we have converted each of the data to a vector, the position and the direction. Now we can create the object. So we are going to create an object, and then we are going to choose the one from the prefabs, the bullet, and I'm going to disable the spawn point, and we are going to use the fire position as the rotation, and the fire position as the position, and the fire direction as the rotation. And then we are going to save this value to a variable, bullet fired, and now we are going to set a velocity to that object. So we are going to use a set velocity to the object, and I'm going to specify game object bullet fired, and I'm going to add a value of 20 on the z-axis, and just leave the other settings be, and create a destroy object, and basically we are going to destroy this bullet after a couple seconds. So I think with a speed of 20, 3 seconds would be enough. Would be quite far away from the player. So by this time the bullet will be already on the outside of our frame. Okay, so I think that should be all. Save the scene and go back to our player. Okay, now we are going to send remote event, and we are going to use the global event RPC shot, not the shoot, because shoot, this is the one the example that I've created before I recording this tutorial, and this is the one we've created with single O, as you can see here. Okay, so now before we try on the network, I'm going to try this on our client here. Oh, sorry, after I click apply on the player, I need to delete this one. So delete the player, save the scene, and let's try this. Okay, now there you can see the player are now able to fire, and I'm going to check our player prefabs here. Shoot button, okay. RPC, okay. After we are sending the RPC, I'm going to add a wait action, so the player cannot shoot straight away, but with a very low amount of time. So we have some sort of cooling down, but it's not too long. Set this to finish, so we cannot just spam the bullets on the scene here. Still we can shoot it very quick, but the bullet does not overload the scene with it, because we have some sort of a cooling down method here under the wait. Okay, now I'm going to save this project, and let's build and run this game. Oh, sorry, I'm going to cancel this one because I've changed the scenes in build. I have to disable this one, and I'm going to enable the tutorial one and click build, and I'm going to save this under the build tut folder, and I'm going to replace the old version. So press yes, and we are building. Okay, now run the game on both sides. So I'm going to run this the standalone one, and I'm going to change the resolution to a smaller resolution, and I'm going to click play, and I'm going to move this here, and I'm going to play the one on our editor, and I'm going to create a room, and I'm going to move the player away and go back to our standalone one and click join room. So we have a now, as you can see here, I can shoot the bullets from this player here, from my client, this client here, and the bullet also gets triggered on the other client here. And if I resize our window here and play this player here, we can see that the player is also shooting bullet on the other client here. So I think that will be all for this episode. I hope you like this tutorial, and I hope it's quite clear. And if you have questions, just fire it below under the comment section below, and please subscribe. I really appreciate any donation to make a better tutorial and more frequent than ever. You can just donate on my channel. There is a button on the top of the header. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.